The Miracle of Birthing a Prophet, DVD number 1. 5 Secrets in Prophet King Solomon's Magical Powers. Secret number 1. The Prophet King Solomon married 700 women to gain their magical powers. You see, each wife he married introduced the prophet to serve the gods and the deities they walked with. In 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 4, the Bible says, as Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods. Whoa! Majority of people do not realize that the reason why King Solomon was so rich and so wise because he worshiped other gods and deities. You see, he married 700 women. And every woman he married introduced them to the gods and deities they served. So when people say, Master Prophet, I want the wisdom of King Solomon. Master Prophet, I want the money of King Solomon. Master Prophet, I want the blessings of King Solomon. The only way you can have those 3 things if you operate in occult powers. Because I'm going to make it as clear as possible. The money, the wisdom, and the blessings that King Solomon operated in the Bible did not come from Jehovah God. It came because he married 700 women that introduced him to the gods and deities they served. Secret number 2. Prophet King Solomon's wisdom came due to his occult knowledge. According to the Wikipedia, King Solomon wrote 2 books called The Key of Solomon that describes in full details his occult wisdom and magical rituals he performed. Whoa! So let me give you 2 facts. Fact number 1. The reason why King Solomon was great in his ability to have incredible amount of wisdom and money was because his occult connection. He is the only biblical prophet that had the highest level of wisdom and money. If his wisdom and his money came from Jehovah God, show me another biblical prophet that operated in the same magical powers. Show me another one. Show me David, Moses, Abraham, Isaac. Show me any of these prophets that operated at the level of King Solomon, and I'll call you a liar. Because King Solomon's ability to have wisdom and money and blessings came because the wives that he connected with began to introduce him to the gods and deities they served. That's why the Bible says that God forbid him to marry those women, because he knew that King Solomon would be introduced to other gods and deities. Now, in secret number 2, King Solomon's wisdom did not come from Jehovah God. Whoa! So the preacher is always putting this declaration that when the blessings of God come into your life, you will have incredible levels of wealth and you will have the wisdom of King Solomon. That is a lie. This is not biblical. There is no other biblical prophet that operated in the wisdom of King Solomon. Where did this wisdom come from? It came because of his occult knowledge. And I'm going to prove it to you that King Solomon's wisdom did not come from Jehovah God. It came because of his occult knowledge. And where did he get this occult knowledge? Marrying 700 women that introduced him to the gods and deities they serve. You have to realize this. King Solomon was wise. He understood that every woman that he married understood a level of magic and that their ancestors would worship a god and deity. So what King Solomon said was, if I marry this woman, I could gain access to the magical powers her and her family were operating in that would make me more wiser. And this is a secret that majority of people do not understand. If you want wisdom, wisdom cannot be found when you're controlled and told yes and no. The Bible gives you too many rules and regulations. The Bible says in the book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, there are literally thousands of commandments. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. Wisdom cannot truly be understood if you are constantly restrained from practicing and learning new things. So where does King Solomon's wisdom come from? It came because of his occult knowledge. Now I'm going to prove it to you that his wisdom did not come from Jehovah God. It came because of his occult knowledge. You ready? In Wikipedia teaches that there were 2 books that King Solomon wrote that took him his lifetime to create. The Key of Solomon, that describes in full detail his occult wisdom and the magical rituals he performed. In book number 1, it contains conjuring up invocations, curses to summon and constrain spirits of the dead and demons in order to compel them to do the operator's will. It also describes how to find stolen items and become invisible, gain favor and love, and so on. So in book number 1, King Solomon wrote, remember, it took him his lifetime to create these 2 volume of books. In book number 1, it talks about conjuring up, invocation, and curses. It talks about demons and operating so that they could do his will. Now, why would a Christian, if King Solomon was a Christian, why would he write this book? Why would he write this book about demons and invocation and curses? It's because King Solomon was not a Christian. King Solomon was an occultist. That was book number 1. Let me tell you what book number 2 contains. If you read book number 2, you will notice it describes purifications. It talks about undergoing magical implements used in their operation. It talks about animal sacrifices and about spirits. Whoa. So if your pastor is correct in saying that King Solomon was blessed by Jehovah God, why was King Solomon learning how to do animal sacrifices? Why was he learning to pour blood to demons and do purifications? You only learn these levels if you operate with the occult and you operate with deities and spirits. In book number 1, King Solomon wrote magical things. In book number 2, he talks about offering to spirits, blood sacrifices. This is all a part of the world of the occult. King Solomon was not a Christian that served Jehovah God. He served other gods and deities that gave him his magical powers.